It's Friday, September 10, coming up on an all-new View. First, Barbara has a sneak preview of her fascinating new special, 7 Going on 70, that takes you inside the lives of children who age at a shockingly rapid pace. Then, Whoopi's taking you backstage in Britain, from rehearsal to raising the curtain on her scene-stealing debut in the hit musical Sister Act in Hot Topics. And it's always a party when It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia star Danny DeVito drops in. Plus, Fashion Friday's back just in time for fall, and designer Cynthia Rowley has all the season's hottest looks. Then, Meghan McCain's exposing the dirty, sexy politics behind the scenes with Sarah Palin and other Republican all-stars when she was on the campaign trail with her dad. All that, Hot Topics, and more, coming up on Season 14 of The View.
Welcome to The View, my goodness. Now, Barbara, yesterday you started telling us about your very emotional special on 2020, 7 Going on 70, and that's airing this evening. Could you remind everybody what the special is about, please?
We did. Well, we showed, as you saw yesterday, a bit about it, and it is so unusual and moving. This will be on tonight in the 2020 time period, and it's called 7 Going on 70.
Right.
Because it's about children. There are only 68 of them in the entire world who are born like normal babies and get older and older. And so they are like old people by the time they're in their teens, when they usually die of some kind of heart disease. Right. It is not genetic, and there are only 16 of them in the United States.
That gets it?
No, it's not a certain race. And
is it genetic?
It is not genetic. No. It's a mutant gene. But it is so rare. As I said, it only happens like 1 out of every 5 million children born. Wow. But it's also a story of love. When you see how these parents love and cherish these children. The little one that we're going to show you today is Lindsay. She's 6 years old. She's in the 1st grade. And by the way, mentally, they're as sharp as any child. But
and
it
witty.
Is so... Well, we sent you in advance.
Yeah, we get at Barbara's advances. Yeah, we get her advanced copies of things.
You watched it with your child.
And you will, too, like these parents, as much as you can, you will fall in love with these kids. And the idea that there are 16 of them in the United States, right? Also sends a message that we can really do something to help them.
They are trying. There is experimental work that's going on to try to prolong their life. But let me show you Lindsay. She is the daughter of Joe and Christy. She's from Radcliffe. She's from Michigan. Her father was serving in Iraq when they found out about the daughter's condition, which usually happens when the child is about 1.5 years. And he came home with an honorable discharge, and they adore this little girl. Here, meet Lindsay. Standing just 36 inches high and weighing 20 pounds, Lindsay seems so vulnerable. At first, it took some unorthodox coaxing to win that first smile.
I'm a silly monkey, but you're a silly Lindsay. Yes, so we're the same. Which one of us is sillier? You? You think I'm sillier than you are? I'm not so sure. Do you think you're pretty? Yes. And I bet Daddy thinks you're very pretty. Don't you, Daddy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Mommy thinks I'm super pretty.
And Lindsay, does anybody ever say anything to you that you don't like? People are nice and sweet. Well, you know why? Because you're nice and sweet. Yes, you are. You're nice and you're sweet. But not everyone has always been nice and sweet to her. You're 6 years old? Are there times when people think you're a baby? What do they think you are? How old do they think you are?
2.
What do you say to them?
I'm not a baby.
You're not a baby. And that makes you feel bad? Well, all they have to do is hear you talk, and they know you're a big girl.
So touching, Barbara. And her energy, when you see what she can accomplish, and you
These
guys see
children
this.
lose their hair, as you see. They have that in common. So we show two of the children who were born here. One who has lived quite a long time. She's 13 years old. And what the hope is for not just these children, but what we can learn about aging ourselves. Right. What are the signs of aging? How do you prevent the stroke these children can have? How do you prevent the heart disease and the arthritis and so on?
Now, Lindsay's body is the body of about a 50-year-old, 50, 60-year-old?
Well, yeah.
What is her mind? Is that...
her mind is as clear as a 6-year-old. Yeah, you can see she's like a 6-year-old.
So she's got a frail little body.
But very frail. And where she lives, people know her. So they treat her, But when she goes into another environment, Whoopi, yes, then people are very cruel,
What happens during school?
She's in normal school.
Really?
They accept her in school. The big thing for these children when they started school, if you can believe it, was getting on the school bus, climbing the stair, physically. But the children the children are wonderful. Children are nicer than adults.
They typically live till about
sometimes. So it's tonight at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I think it is something that the whole family can watch, and have some understanding. It's called 7 Going on 70.
Quite amazing. Hey, Meghan McCain is here today. And in her book, Dirty Sexy Politics, she comes out against abstinence before marriage, saying not only is it unrealistic, it can lead to people rushing into marriage too soon, in part because sexual chemistry is an important part of a relationship. Now, I know you guys have very different feelings about sex before marriage. Some of you do.
There's a broad spectrum of what people think and feel about abstinence. I think certainly if the age of marriage is being pushed back to the 30s or something, it may in that case be unrealistic. I think when you're talking about teens and young kids, I think that to not give them the option and information about abstinence is wrong. If you're trying to secure a home and you say, okay, this is the alarm system that completely 100% will protect your home, okay? So with abstinence, you're definitely not getting pregnant. You're definitely not getting an STD. You're definitely not getting HIV. You're definitely not going to put yourself in a relationship that you're not ready for. But if you're not going to choose that, there are other options. I don't see anything wrong with providing kids with a full spectrum of education and letting them know that is a way to 100% protect body, mind, and soul.
Let me tell you why she says this. By the way, this is a terrific book. This is a little book, and we all try to read most of the book. And I said, one more. This is a very good and very honest book. And a little later, when Meghan's on with us, her mother has come in today too, and that pleases me because we were kind of tough on Mrs. McCain. So I'm happy to welcome her back. But what Meghan is talking about is that during the campaign, Bristol was sort of glorified. Oh, isn't it wonderful? It was like a pro-life suggestion, and she said, no, we should teach. Well, let me just say, I know you don't, but she said we should teach about contraception because she feels, and we're going to ask her about it, that abstinence in this case, she was 17 years old, Bristol, is unrealistic.
I also think there's an emotional component as well when, I agree with you about abstinence should be also taught as an option because you have youngsters who haven't fully developed that maturity in their mind. And I think when you start sleeping with people, and it's just about
30-year-olds who haven't developed that maturity.
But even still, if you got a person like me who still don't have it together, as far as and
talk about you.
On a Tuesday, ask me about celibacy.
How much longer do we have to wait?
Till I get it together, girl, I don't know. But I just think you're talking about youngsters and the emotional component of being attached to somebody when you sleep with them prematurely.
Dependent
it's
on
not
There's
just
some
about
information that your body changes in some way when you have sex with somebody.
Your mind changes. Your heart changes.
You
have
to
another level
That's a very
now.
good point. I mean, even more interesting in certain ways for kids to understand that you're not going to get out of that unscathed emotionally.
No,
you're
that's
going to be
not.
attached to the person.
Listen, you know, it's hard enough to be somebody's girlfriend or boyfriend when you're, you know, just going to the movies and you know all the trauma that you go through. Just, does he like me? Does it? Sex adds a whole other thing to it. And I think that, you know, you have to, I agree with you, Elizabeth, you have to say to young people, I'm talking about, you know, the 12 and up, because everything that they see on television makes it look like that's something they should be doing.
Glamorous.
You know, it is, and it is a magnificent thing. However,
especially when you ain't getting it. Ooh, that's all you can think about all the time. The magnificence of...
What is your problem, Sherry?
She's horny.
you remember the Grace Jones song, I Want a Man? That should be your theme song, I Want a Man, right now. But I think you have to be able to tell young people about both things. Because not everybody's wired the same way. So some may be, you know, you don't want them sneaking. You want to know, as the adult, what's going on. Right. You know, so you have to, like, keep that conversation. And it's tough, because nobody wants to think about their child having sex with anybody.
But what she is talking about, and she's going to be here, so we'll talk to her, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and then she's saying, just a second, what about contraception?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sure, which is not 100% foolproof. You need to know what is the best protection and what's the next level. I think that the full spectrum is necessary.
Hear her say it herself.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to take a look at me on stage in London in Sister Act, and, you know, it'll be fun. Come back with us.
Vacation, Whoopi became the toast of London for playing Mother Superior in the stage version of Sister Act, and she worked hard for those rave reviews. Take a look.
Welcome.
You see me kind of wandering, you'll know I don't know where I'm going. So just kind of, you know, even if it means you have to run on and go, Mother Superior, this way. In these walls, life is sweet and good. Prayer is understood and selfishness rejected. Within these walls, as one of us. Phase 1.
Hello, America.
Yeah. Once again, the view sees much more than they should.
Oh, okay. Phase 2. It's beautiful.
She is unveiled, the Mother Superior. I think it's gonna be alright. I don't know. We'll see. There's a 5-minute call like 5 minutes ago, so I'm a little late. But there we go.
Like it's going to be a good show.
It's wonderful. It's.
Are you going to bring it here?
We are bringing it here next year. I will not be in it. No, I will not be in it. No. Here's what you have to understand. When you bring folks to Broadway, when you bring someone like me, you have to put someone like me in a Rex Harrison part or a Zero Mostel part because that's the sound. But these songs written by Alan Menken, you know, who did all of the, you know, Little Mermaid and all that. Those are for singers. He writes for singers. So I'm warbling, just thinking, oh, please, God, do I remember the words? I don't know, God, help me, please. And then I'd sing it. And then I go, thank you, God, thank you. And it was like that the whole time.
So you were scared?
Scared to death.
But you know on Tuesday, I read some of the reviews.
Yeah.
And I've never read such reviews. And people were literally
They were sleeping in the
streets.
They were sleeping in the streets.
So we have to treat you with a little more respect, don't you
No,
think?
don't bother. Because I'm going to just keep passing gas when I feel like it. So listen, you know. Hey, listen, we're going to go and come right back. And when we do, we're bringing back Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito around here, and he's about to kick off season 6 of his groundbreaking sitcom, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Take a look.
All right, crack my back, all right? Can you crack my back, please? Crack my back. All right, come on, turn around. Give me that. Okay, ready? Way up. Yeah. Ah! Oh! 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 Oh, my back! Oh! My back! I did it again! All right. This is gonna sound crazy. I just got an idea. If we do that domestic partnership thing that gay guys can do, I can totally get on your health insurance. You wouldn't even have to pay for the chiropractor. You proposing to me?
Please welcome back Danny DeVito. That we've seen in a long time.
I got married in the show this year. Yeah, we get married. Charlie and I get married.
Oh,
yeah. It's been really good too.
So much for Rhea.
Rhea's all into it too. She digs it, and Charlie's really married to marry Elizabeth Ellis.
Right.
So there's the 4 of us. We live together now. It's California, and I'll do anything for the show.
We're going to talk about the show, but before we even talk about the show, I wanted to ask you about your very good friend, Michael Douglas.
Mikey D.
You guys have known each other since you first started out. You were in a movie, Solitary Man.
Yes.
And he revealed last week on Letterman that he had throat cancer. Have you spoken to Michael?
I speak to Michael all the time. I'm going to see him in a little while. He's a strong man. He's a fighter. Michael is... very brave, as you all know. I mean, and he is giving his best shot and really optimistic about it, and I'm sure that he's going to kick it. I really feel that way.
And you're going to wish him a happy birthday for me.
Oh, absolutely.
He and Catherine and I have our birthday
Right,
the same
you all
day.
have the same birthday.
Yes, we do. So I give him love and
That's good.
prayers.
See, what's that? When you think of birthdays, right? Don't you think of the kid as a baby? Right, you think of Barbara's
Catherine is still a baby.
3 little tushes sitting
Catherine's
out there,
a
you know what I mean?
On a fence.
Yeah. So, that's good. He's going to do really good. He's going to get through this with everybody's help. And, everybody out there is loving him and send them all the love in the world. Yeah, absolutely.
Very
Good
nice.
man, good friend.
Sherry mentioned the show. That clip was hysterical.
We do some crazy things on the show.
Yeah, well, your character Frank does some crazy things too. Like, didn't he set his daughter on fire and then they picked out a
stuff. I waterboarded her.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That was while Bush was still in office. It's not now. We don't do that anymore. I had to say that.
I know you did. And you know what?
I love Unit Digs.
And I love you, so I've been loving you say it. What else can we expect from Frank?
Well, we do all, you know, the thing about it is, like, you saw that clip where, you know, we have all kinds of crazy stuff. Anything they say, you know, I signed on for the show 6 years ago. I mean, it's been going on for a while. And it was one of those things where I said anything goes, you know, anything. Like last year,
So you've never said no?
No, I don't say no. And last year we did a show where I was I don't know if you saw the Christmas special where
Yeah, you were nude.
I was naked. Well, here's the thing. When you get a script, right? You get the script, and you go like, yeah.
How did you? When you did this,
all right, wait a while.
Were you nervous?
Well, here's the thing about that.
Are you talking about my tush?
Like, here's the thing about that. You know this. When you get a script, you get a screenplay, and so he says, he's going to do this thing. You're going to be naked. I go, oh, yeah, this is going to be great, right? So from that moment on, you start dieting, right? Because you know, like, in 2 months, you're going to do it or whatever. But you don't realize, you don't remember. The thing is that you're not going to just be there alone in the room with the camera people. There's 50 people, like, in background atmosphere, extras. You know, people in the room you've never seen before, and you got to get out of there, and they don't let you go with your ding-a-ling just swinging. No, you got to corral that monster. You got to take that baby, you got to put some kind of sack on it. It's not. Yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, it actually is like a little sack that you pull the string.
We got the idea.
And so when you come out, and we're going to come out from behind the couch, was going to be the thing. They're trying, it's the ghost of Christmas past, like Scrooge. They're trying to tell me what a bad guy I am, and they want people to say it in front of me. They want me to hear it. So I say, okay, sew me into that couch. So they sew me into this leather couch. But I get in there, it gets so hot. I got to take all my clothes off because it's just like stifling in there. And I show it again. Okay. I mean, I slipped out like a halibut, you know. It was like, it was really...
You're wonderful. We thank you.
You know, Danny, we so love having you. You have got to come back and visit us again. We love you.
Yeah, you do.
Thanks to Danny DeVito. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia premieres next Thursday, September 16th. Check your local listings. And season 5 comes out on DVD September 14th. And you're all taking home a copy. We're going to be right back.
For fall, and the designer who dresses stars like Scarlett Johansson and Eva Longoria is here with all the looks you'll want to be in this season. Please welcome one of my longtime favorites, Cynthia Rowley. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you so much. Okay, first of all, you guys all look amazing. I'm so proud. You all look so good in my fall collection.
Happily, we are. We love yours.
And the shoes, Whoopi and the shoes.
You have a great sensibility and whimsy combination. I love your work. We have this photo of you when you were 7. Wearing a dress that you made yourself. Can you tell us about this? It's incredible.
I grew up in a really creative household, and I started sewing at a really young age. And I remember this. My mom gave me this really ugly brown paisley fabric, and I laid it on the floor and laid on top of it, traced around myself like a crime scene victim, and then cut it out and sewed it up and wore it every day, you know, for the whole summer.
It's incredible.
And,
it's incredible. From that age, you started.
Added the accessorized with the clothesline belt and flip-flops, you know, giant bow.
Of course you did. And then you were on the L train, right? And you got your first big break. Weren't you wearing, was it a jacket of yours?
That is
in Chicago.
That is a true story that I was on my way to school in Chicago, and a woman stopped me on the L train and asked me about the jacket I was wearing, and I said, "Oh, it's mine. I'm a designer." And I, you know, was in school at the Art Institute and looked like I was 12. And she gave me her card and said, be in my office with your collection on Monday. So I sewed all weekend, made 5 things, went to her office, and she looked at one and said, you know, oh, that's great. What's the style number on that? And I said, 1. And, what's the style number on that one? 2, you know, and then she gave me an order. I made it, delivered it to her. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But diligent hard work pays
It's
off.
so funny,
Very
Cynthia,
lucky.
you are a jack of all trades. You're not just a designer of women's wear. I got to read this. You design beauty and baby products, tools, surfwear, handbags, shoes, legwear, shapewear, bridesmaid collection. Now, I got to ask you this. Is it true that you have designer Band-Aids?
Well, that's the newest thing. But
So much fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Why not?
it's not just for kids, you know.
Right.
Kids have Dora and SpongeBob. We can have sequins and.
You have 2. In addition to everything else, you managed somehow or other to produce 2 children. One is Gigi, who's 5, Kit, who is 11.
11, yeah. And they.
Now, is it true you make their Halloween costumes?
I do. I love to. They have their own style, which I think it's important that you let kids dress themselves with self-expression. But that's her polar bear costume. You can tell she's really excited about that one, right?
Mom?
Well, my mom used to make my costumes, and she was really clever because I have 2 brothers, so I would be Peter Pan one year, and then the next year they would be Robin Hood. You know, so it was kind of smart in that way. But see what I mean about self-expression? You know, it's important that you let them sort of dress themselves.
Absolutely.
Even if it means a Barbie life jacket.
Yeah, that's great. On reverse. I like the reversal of it.
I love that she has a bag in her hand.
Yeah,
She knows.
of course, you always need a bag to go places. You know, we love Fashion Week. It's here in New York City, and tomorrow you're previewing your spring line. But you brought some fall pieces that you're going to show us, 4 looks from fall, and then a sneak preview of spring.
Yes,
so
which is
show us
crazy
your first
because
fall.
usually spring is top secret. So this is So I guess I'm sort of known for my dresses. So this is one of my favorite ones from fall. It kind of has all the trends.
In stores now.
In stores now. The trend, some of the big trends for fall are lace, ruffles, and some feathers,
feathers
which
are
I
great
think
for
are
fall.
always
Great.
fun. And I know it's fall, but I also love a little mule. Makes your legs look longer.
It does make your legs look longer. That's a great bow on the mule, too. I like that.
I always wonder how the illumination
So speaking of feathers, this is a real party dress. Now you can't put this dress on and not feel like you're gonna have a good time. With feathers for fall are really important. The color too, these really dark, sort of mysterious jewel tones, the blues and browns.
I like the bow, little tie detail on the shoulder. And then you have another piece which is available in stores too for fall.
And then this is also for fall. I guess I'm sort of also always have a little bit of girliness, feminine, but with a little bit of a tough girl kind of edge. You know, it's not too prissy.
No.
So this
one.
one.
Clothes that you can wear all year round.
Yeah,
so it doesn't look like, you know, the usual fall.
And change the belt. And
Fun for fall. So we're seeing a lot of navy, black combination, the black and blue combination too.
dark jewel tones, plum.
That's great.
Dark blue. So this, you know, fur is a huge trend for fall. A lot of people showed it on the runway, and this is a way that you can wear it sort of for day, where it's a fur print.
Yeah.
And then
Interesting.
throwing on in the philosophy of more is more, less is a bore. She's got her whole arm filled with bangles, which is another big trend for accessories.
Meat bikini?
No. Meat bikini.
What a unique take on the fur, though. I like the print. And now, this is not usual what's going to happen here, because typically you'll wait for the big show, which is tomorrow. You're debuting your spring, but you brought us a sneak peek, which I love.
Usually it's like completely under wraps, top secret, Fort Knox. Nobody ever gets to see it.
We get the first look here, and so do you.
want sort of that tough girl, but feminine look where it's a leather shell with the sort of fluffy feminine skirt, and then a little touch of sportiness again with the striped sweater.
But the sheer is nice with the sportiness.
What about the bag?
Yeah. Those are your shoes?
Yeah. She's like, I need those shoes.
That is fantastic, Cynthia. You never cease to amaze me. You do great work. Hey, we want to thank Cynthia Rowley, and everyone in our audience is going home with a Cynthia Rowley wrap and Cynthia Design Band-Aid. We'll be right back with Meghan McCain.
Meghan McCain has a candid and controversial political voice, and she pulls no punches. I really like this book, and her new book, Dirty, Sexy Politics. And it goes into all of it and her whole behind the scenes of the whole campaign with her father, John McCain, and her mother, Cindy, and Sarah Palin. And you're tough in the Republican Party. You think they're going the wrong way. You're tough in a lot of things and a little bit
positive about things.
Yeah, you are too. You are too. But one of the things we were talking about earlier was when you write about Bristol Palin, and you said that why does she have a giant blanket covering her stomach when you first saw her? You said this was obviously before it was announced that she was pregnant. Bristol now goes around talking about abstinence until marriage. You feel differently.
You know, I think if abstinence before marriage works for you, it's great. It's 89% ineffective. Sex can kill you. My little sister is almost exactly Bristol Palin's age, and I just wanted her to know about condoms and sex education. And, you know, we live in a scary world, and things happen, and I have a lot of friends.
What's 89% ineffective?
Like, statistically, abstinence-only education is 89% ineffective.
So you're against abstinence-only education, not abstinence, okay?
No,
So that's a
if
misconception.
it works for you,
only.
and I think this is sort of taken out of context. If it works for you, fantastic. I just think it doesn't always work, and that experience really showed me it doesn't always work.
It doesn't work if someone doesn't put it into effect, meaning.
I'm for education in every level. Yeah.
Well, you also educate us a little bit about Sarah Palin. You liked her. You liked the family. You talked about how she took the stage when your father made his, when his father declared that he was no longer the candidate. Do you think that she hurt your father's chances for president?
No, I think my father could have had Jesus Christ himself as his running mate and still lost. I think it was so gone for Obama.
Isn't Jesus a Democrat?
If you lose with Jesus on your side, something wrong if you lose with Jesus.
If Sarah Palin ran for president, would you vote for her?
You know, I just got asked this question the other night on Leno, and this is a hard question for me because are you saying in the primaries? Are you saying this is alluding that she receives the nomination if she in fact runs? I'm really I feel like my life goal and my just passion right now is just bringing more people into politics, and I don't like this you're with us or you're against us mentality at all. And I just really want, you know, this book is about, I spent 2 years on the campaign trail. No disrespect to Sarah, she spent 6 weeks. This is my whole life. My mother was pregnant with me at the '84 Reagan convention. And I've literally been doing this my entire life. And, you know, I've told my father, like, what do you expect to happen when, since utero, I'm exposed to all this? You fall in love with it, and this is my passion, and I want a more open political climate, and I will die trying to get it. Seriously.
I gotta ask you, Meghan. By the way, I love this book so much, I couldn't put it down. It was so good, this book. But you have been with us many times on the show. You have co-hosted with us. And not one time, you wrote a book that my son loves, a children's book about your dad. And you didn't mention one time that you got fired during the campaign. You didn't say that when you came on the show, how did they fire the man's daughter?
Yeah, and I love this part of my experience because I think everybody can sort of relate to being, you know, left out of something or not feeling included. And I was such an outcast. And later on, reflecting on it, it's hilarious that I was such an outcast, you know, and I was like not welcomed, and I wasn't fired. I was asked not to come back and go on my own tour.
Your stories are incredible. I mean, look, you say you spent your whole life on the campaign trail. I spent a day campaigning for your dad. If he would have asked me to go many more, I would have. I think we missed the ball on him. He's a great fighter for what's right. I have to know, though, after campaigning for your dad, how doesn't any other candidate fall short? I mean, who would you look to? Who now, sort of waiting in the wings, do you think would be the candidate for the Republican Party?
And of course, this is a difficult question because my father is obviously...
Right, where do you go from there?
Exactly. But right this second, I'm really looking at Romney. I think he's making a lot of really smart moves. Anybody who's not going to polarize young people, I can get behind. So
you almost thought he should have been vice president for your Romney.
No, I said Lieberman.
Yeah, but then you thought it was going to be Romney. But I want to, while we still have time, I want to introduce a lady who's sitting in our audience.
Yes, my mother is here.
With a new short haircut.
And I would just like to say, I could not do this without the support of my parents. And I think there's misconceptions in the media that I somehow don't have a good relationship with them. But my mother has empowered me since a young, like getting teary, empowered me since I was a little girl. And this book has just been so amazing. And it's just amazing to have her here.
So I have to talk about something more
fun. You said didn't understand your mother. And a lot of people were tough on her. And we were very tough on you, too. You said that we picked your bones apart. Yeah, well, maybe we did, but you were a good sport. But the warmth of your mother and the love and the sweetness that you describe, you felt didn't come across. That
Nobody
people don't
has
really
seen
know.
my mother as my mother, I feel like. I mean, there were just so many. There's specifically a New York Times article that I will never forget that studied in journalism classes as a statement of biased journalism. I don't understand why we do this to Republican women. I don't understand why we stereotype them as blonde and bimbos. And she raised me how I am, very empowered on every level. And thank you for letting me live my life.
Look what they did to Hillary. She's a Democrat. It's across the board.
Women, yes.
But you know, you really...
Just one more thing. I just love when you said no matter what you wore, your mother said fine.
Yes, no matter what I wore. She's like, you look great. And my weight and my life and everything I do. So.
You really slammed George W. Bush in the book, which I enjoyed that very much.
Shocking! There's a shocker!
Well, you did. Because he waged a very nasty, negative campaign against your father in the year 2000, when he said that your father had sired a black baby out of this. And there was
oh my gosh, look at that picture. That's hilarious.
Now tell us about that story. Tell us the story.
You know, I wrote about this in the book just simply because it's cathartic. This book has been ultimate catharsis and liberation. It's almost like my redemption. I was 14 when it happened. It's affected my life ever since.
What did they do to you?
People can read about it in the book.
Well, give us just a little bit. I basically said what it was.
There was a smear campaign. It's very well documented. I actually only remember small bits of it. In college, I read a Vanity Fair article. My sister Googled herself. My sister is adopted. I just don't think there's any place for it in politics. I think the Obama presidency has sort of eliminated all of this. You know, I think we live in a, you know, so... you know, I just wrote about it because I felt like it was a story that needed to be told from my perspective.
You did.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank you.
Well, you can tell
Glad
it.
you brought it up, but this is your sister Bridget, who was adopted and whom they said was an illegitimate child of your father's. It was a terrible smear.
My beautiful little sister Bridget. By the way, my sister Bridget just started college, and I'm so proud of her.
The book is called Dirty, Sexy Politics. It's written by Meghan McCain. It's a good read. We thank you for being on with us.
It's a great book.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
First of all, everybody in the audience is getting a copy of Meghan McCain's book. Be sure to catch Barbara's special 7 Going on 70 tonight at 10 p.m. right here on ABC on 2020. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view, because that's what we're going to do. See ya.